All right, what's going on today, YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite cyclist YouTube channel. This week, we're talking about my brand new bike I just bought. But before I get into today's video, if you're new to my channel, make sure you head down below, hit that subscribe button for me. If you already are subscribed, make sure you hit that bell icon right next to that. That way you get notified every time I upload. That way you don't miss any of this awesome cycling content on this channel. Now, some of you keen-eyed guys go, that is not a brand new bike. And that's right, this bike is a new-to-me bike, but very used and neglected. So, some of you guys, if you watch my short videos I put out every single day, you've actually heard that I bought a BMX bike, and I bought this at the Kiwanis bike program. So, down in Sparks, Nevada, they have a bike program that essentially takes used bikes, similar to this one, and either refurbishes them and sells them back out, or they take bikes like this one and kind of just get them into working order and then sell them on to people like me that are willing to ride them and get them back into shape if need be. So the bike we have here, this is a Framed Impact XL. Now some of you may know the brand Framed. So Framed doesn't really exist anymore. I believe they went out of business a couple years ago now. But Framed used to sell pretty affordable bikes that still packed a decent punch to it. So when I saw the brand name, I kind of knew I was getting something that was at least semi-decent when I was looking for it. Now, with that company potentially been out of business for a few years, it makes it kind of difficult to find much information on this bike. So we'll cover one of the basic questions I know some of you are asking is, why do you need another bike? Why did you buy another bike? Well, A, I have a problem. B, I don't really have a BMX bike at this moment. Now, some of you will say, yeah, you have your little mini BMX behind you, the little orange tired guy. And yeah, I have my little mini rocker. I'll tell you, it's fun to ride, but not... I wouldn't suggest that to someone trying to learn BMX for the first time or wanting to just mess around at the skate park and actually do things. That's not what I would recommend. So that's why I got an actual BMX bike. So with this being Impact XL, that's the reason I bought this. So most BMX bikes have about a 20-inch top tube length. Between the seat tube and the head tube right here, it's about 20 inches or so. Some are less, some are 19 and a half. They're going to be kind of right in that range there. What the XL does is essentially adds an inch to that. So it's a 21-inch top tube. So for someone taller like me at 5'11", this bike actually feels really comfortable and really, it makes me not feel all crunched up on the bike, which is not what I want on a BMX bike. I want something that would be stretched out a little more. And one of the things I want to do is, of course, we want to ride some street BMX and park BMX. We want to give that a shot. Another thing I want to do is, well, my daughter races BMX bikes, and I need something that I can ride on the track with her that feels comfortable on the track. Most of the tracks are designed for 20 to 24-inch wheel bikes, so a class or a cruiser bike if you're in the BMX racing world. Not so much a dirt jumper, a 26-inch, or even a mountain bike. They're not. You can ride them, but they flow a whole lot better on a 20-inch or a 24-inch. So I wanted something in that range, and this will do the trick for me, especially with the speed she's currently doing. This should work fine, even with a little bit lower gearing that this has. So as we've noticed, this bike is definitely not brand new condition. Honestly, this bike is this bike has been subjected to some neglect to it. However, looking at it, I saw it had pretty good bones to it. It has a pretty solid frame, even though it's all scratched up and kind of beat up in certain places. I think we can kind of make, if we wanted to, we could polish this out and make it look actually pretty good. Maybe we'll do that in the video if you guys want to see that. We'll try and restore this frame back to what it would have looked like. Make it look a little bit better than kind of the scratched up frame. Otherwise, it's a BMX bike. It's going to get dropped. It's going to get crashed. It's going to get drug on concrete. It's going to happen. So not the biggest concern that I have. Moving on from that, I mean, you got the tires. These tires are not the original tires this bike came with. This bike came with kind of a similar looking tire, but it was actually a staggered setup. So it had a 20 by, I think it was like 20 by 2 on the front, 2.1 on the front, and then a 20 by 1.9 on the rear. We're not going to do that. We're actually going to go with some different tires on here, some smoother tires that are kind of made for more of a park setting, like a skate park setting. That's kind of what we're going to go with. We have some tires coming for this bike from my friends at Kenda. They're sending me out some different tires to try with this so we can try some tires out. These tires scare me right now because they have some pretty deep cracks in there. Again, just neglect. It was left out in the sun and in the weather here in Nevada, and it just kills things when you sit out in the sun at this elevation and this weather. So it's got that going for it there. The wheels on these actually feel pretty decent. They need some adjusting to them, probably need some grease in them, but definitely doable. Not too worried about that at all. And then realistically, there's only two other things to talk about on this. This is a super simple bike. The brake, mediocre at best. Not sure what to do with that besides for replace with a better brake, which you may do. This is a different style brake than I don't know if I've ever messed with this style brake, and I definitely haven't shown on the channel. This is a U brake. So it's a very different style brake, and so I probably will end up installing a different brake on here to get a little bit better clamping power. And then I'll show you guys how it all works and show you guys how to assemble it and, you know, all that fun stuff. So it has a lot of good things there. Now, some of you guys are pretty keen-eyed, and you'll notice there's no pedal on this side, and it's kind of missing the whole tip of the crank arm. I talked about this in one of my shorts a little bit, vaguely, and in that I rode this. I took this out on the day of the biggest little bike sale at Kiwani's, and I was test riding in the parking lot. Test riding around once, I was like, oh, this bike feels pretty good. I kind of like it. I think I'm going to go for this bike. Then my daughter grabbed the bike, and she was like, oh, come ride with me, Dad. And I said, sure, I'll go ride around the building with you once. So I went to ride around the building with her at that time, and I got about halfway, and all of a sudden my foot felt kind of weird on the pedal, like it was moving or something. So I was like, huh. So I kind of let off pressure a little bit to see if it was like the crank or my foot or the pedal or what it was going on. And when I went to go put pressure on it again, well, the whole pedal thing fell off. And it was more than just the pedal that came off. The crank arm itself actually snapped. And some of you are like, holy frick, that's crazy, because it's a steel one-piece crankset. I have never seen this happen before. In my many years of bikes, I have never seen this happen before. I've never even seen anything like this happen before. Seen it with the aluminum crank arms and carbon crank arms? Sure. Solid steel though? No, I have no idea. So, when that happened, I kind of just hobbled it back. Luckily, I didn't get like too hurt. I did whack the goodies a little bit, but I'm okay now. After kind of taking a breather for a second, I figured I was good. So, when we looked at this with the guy, when we looked at this with the guy there at Kiwani's, we actually noticed that it looked like the crank arm was actually broken previously. You can actually see on the broken part here that's still attached to the pedal, half of it is rusted, half of it is totally clean. So this was already broken about halfway through before I even got on the bike. When that happened, I don't know. Probably not someone who puts down as much power as me and someone who weighs as much as me. Probably did that and wouldn't have, you honestly never would have noticed. When you get someone like me kind of sprinting out on it, yeah, this thing's going to break. So, snap the rest of that crank arm off, and yeah, that was kind of the end of the riding the bike at that moment. So, I went and rode a couple other bikes while I was there, just to see if there was something else there. The bikes are pretty affordable, honestly, and so I was kind of upset because I liked how this bike felt, but I tried to ride a couple others, and they just felt way too small. Again, that top tube length makes a bigger difference than you would think it does. So, they all felt too small, and I ended up buying this one. They gave me a little bit of a discount on it because it was broken crank on here. Not a huge deal. I told them I was going to fix it. I told them my plans for this bike. So, yeah. So that's kind of the story with the broken crank arm. I've never broken one, and now I can say I've broken a one-piece crank arm somehow. And probably the first one you've ever seen, too. So, we have some plans with this bike. We have some really good plans. We're going to be swapping this crankset out. You'll see this in the next video with this bike. We're swapping that crankset out. We're putting a 3-piece crankset on here, which is going to be a lot stronger and more replaceable. Steel bearings, all sorts of good stuff. We're going to put a 3-piece crankset on here, replace everything down there. New tires coming for that. We're probably going to end up replacing the whole drivetrain, the chain ring, and the cog on the back. We'll replace all of that, and then the brake on here. And I think this bike is going to be fun to rip around. Should be pretty solid from that point. So this is my new BMX bike. This is the Framed Impact XL. I honestly have no idea what year it is because, again, it's hard to find any information on these framed bikes when the company went out of business. So kind of tough on that moment. But that's what you guys have to look forward to. This is the new bike we're going to be working on. Get this thing out to the park, have some fun, and get this bike back on the road, back living its best life. It's kind of the plan with this bike, to have some fun. So hopefully you guys are excited to see this BMX bike on the channel, see some more BMX kind of content. If you guys are and you enjoyed the video, give this video a big thumbs up. Appreciate the support. Any comments or questions, let me know down in the comment section below. Love talking to you guys. Love answering questions you guys have. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching today.